The more you give the why to our children, the more they understand some negative impact that happens when it comes to their own self or their self well-being, or even when it comes to the community or to their families, they definitely will understand that. And if you give them the why, they come around. You have to really foster that open communication with them to let them know that you're supporting them. Let them know that it's a place of safety to talk to you about social media.
You're listening to the smartsocial.com podcast. I'm your host, Josh Oakes. This is our District Talk segment where we interview district leaders to learn how they're keeping students safe on social media so those students can someday shine online. Now, let's get back to the interview.
Hello, I'm Dr. Elizabeth Alvarez. I'm Superintendent of Forest Park District 91 in Illinois. We are a small school district with 4 schools and approximately 750 students.
Doctor, it is so great to have you here today. Today's theme is really all about how do we take districts of all sizes, yours being on the smaller side, and help every student become resilient, ready for the future. You're a pre-K through 8th grade district, which is exciting. How do we teach them a little bit about AI? And also, they're getting cell phones younger and younger. Before we dive into our questions, I want to bring everybody up to speed on the data you just taught me. Number one, what percentage of 3rd to 4th grade students in your district have cell phones?
My 3rd and 4th graders, approximately about 80% of them own a cell phone. And that's not even counting how many of them are on social media.
Yeah, exactly. And then what percentage of the 5th graders?
About 90% of my 5th graders would have a cell phone.
And then what percentage of 6th to 8th graders have a cell phone?
We're at 100% there. I cannot think of one of my 6th, 7th, or 8th graders that does not have a cell phone.
So let's bring that back to everybody. You didn't expect this episode to go this direction, but Doctor, I'm so excited you're here today because when I first quoted to you, agree or disagree with this stat, you're like, it's too low. And I went, oh no, not. And it turned out to be the bad direction. You said the kids younger than that have phones. So the rest of you districts, we're going to talk about not only how small districts are dealing with things, but big districts. And guess what? We're all the same. Oh no, my community's different. Your community has iPhones and Androids and kids begging for I'm just going to say it, the drugs that go into their eyeballs, that is social media, right? The attention span and everything else, the fear of missing out and the screen time. Josh, you're so doom and gloom. I promise you I'm not. I have books out that are positive, that teach kids how to shine online for their future. There's a lot of positivity at smartsocial.com, but this episode's special. We are giving our phones at a very young age to kids. Yeah. Let's start it off with that. Okay, Doctor, Superintendent, give everybody an idea of what you've done over the last few years since 2021 being the superintendent. What's your biggest accomplishment as a district over the past 1 to 4 years?
I know that within the first 4 years, there's been a lot happening, but I'm pretty proud of the fact that we developed STEAM labs in 2 of our schools. It was something we really wanted people to look at Forest Park and say, what do they identify with? I was a past science middle school teacher, so it's very dear to my heart to have science, technology, engineering, art, and math to be part of our district. We also incorporated our new AI curriculum for our 8th graders, which started this past school year and just getting stronger for the coming year. So we're pretty excited about the things that have occurred there, getting our children to be excited about, STEAM, and also getting the collaboration piece with all of my teachers. So getting that collective efficacy that really moves achievement, decreases the opportunity gap for our children, and then putting them into competitions as well.
Yeah, that's a lot. Good for you. It's a wonderful objective. The next question that a lot of superintendents have is, what advice do you have for other districts to deal with social media issues that may originate on a social media app like TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, but then creates a very real problem on one of our campuses?
When it comes to social media, first of all, we have to come to grips that it's here. It's not going away, and we can't fight it. If we start fighting it, all we're doing is really hitting a dead horse. It's there. The children are going to use it, and they're going to fight us to no end. So we might as well become friends with the idea. So first of all, be proactive. You have to be proactive. Know what's on social media. Get to know the research that our children are looking at. And when you hear jargon, when you hear certain things, you know exactly what they're talking about. And it's not something new to you. You could find all this out very easily. You have to develop some clear policies and guidelines as well. Have that in advance. And in that way, when you're speaking to your children, to our students, you let them know these are the policies. This is what's acceptable. This is what's not acceptable in regards to behavior on social media. And it's really more to protect them. So the more you give the why to our children, the more they understand some negative impact that happens when it comes to their own self or their self well-being, or even when it comes to the community or to their families, they definitely will understand that. And if you give them the why, they come around. You have to really foster that open communication with them to let them know that you're supporting them. Let them know that it's a place of safety to talk to you about social media. Just think about positive ways that they could use social media, because there's so many ways that you could promote. We have a student-led initiatives where our National Junior Honor Society works with it. We have children that are doing fundraisers as well with social media. So there's a lot of different ways that they could use it in a positive way. We do have to include our parents, our caregivers. They are our partners when it comes to this, and let them know that we're beside you. Too many times our parents say, I give up. Well, you can't give up, because we're not giving up. We're there to support you and just really allow you to understand that here are the trends that maybe you don't know about. Here are things that your child may be looking at. Hey, ask them, find out, ask to see, is this something that you're looking at it? There's no harm in asking. And then maybe letting them know, like, there's other ways, like workshops, resources that they can go through to actually become more engaged in finding out what else is happening with social media, because it's not going away. We want to make sure that we have a support system. So we have counselors in each one of our buildings. We have social workers in each one of our buildings. And this is very proactive in the sense of, after the pandemic, we wanted to make sure that the personal health was taken care of, not only for our children, but for our adults. And that's why they're there. Our children know who to go to. They know to go to a counselor. They know to go to a social worker whenever they need anything. And really, it's being kind to our community and being kind to our children. We also have a restorative practice coach as well, which is part of conflict resolution with our PBIS. Our restorative practice coach talks all the time about cyberbullying, talks all the time about social media bullying that happens, and why it's important that we stay out of it. I have a director of engagement that we hired, and she's on the social media platforms. She gets on there to really make sure that our children are being safe. And if they're not, she catches it quickly. She brings it to the attention of families, to our social workers, our counselors, and also to our children, to make sure it doesn't blow up and become something bigger than it shouldn't be. And then always like keeping the feedback going, talking to our children, not just saying one and done. We want to make sure that we're really talking to our children constantly about this, because when it comes to social media, things change so quickly. It's hard to keep up.
The next question that other district leaders have is, can you provide some examples? Maybe let's move into the positive side here. Can you provide some examples of how your students have used their social media in a positive and productive way that has benefited themselves, their community, or even your school district?
We actually have a media team in our middle school. They develop projects for collaboration, and that's where social media comes in. They've also used it to develop some of their movies. And then our National Junior Honor Society has used it for fundraisers, sharing of fun events. And we have it for Kindness Week to promote kindness and fostering a sense of community for everyone.
Now, quick question on that. I'll double click in that area. Do you allow the students to do a takeover of your Instagram or other apps, or are they usually posting their own stuff on their own?
They post their own stuff on their own, but they're also part of creating some of the stuff that we use for social media. So they're part of my videos all the time. They are part of checking in for like their yearbook and then advertising for it. So we oversee it and supervise it.
That's terrific. How great. Okay, the next question is, what are your suggestions for other districts to increase parent engagement? And in addition, Doctor, are there any specific channels or events that get the biggest turnout for that parent engagement?
One of the biggest things I always tell other superintendents is that when you are involving children, when they have to perform or do something, parents are going to show up. So our media team is a really big one. Parents are going to show up for that. We also provide Parent University, where we provide workshops for our parents, best practices, provide them with resources. We have our educational summit, which happens once a year, and our parents kind of learn from one another what's happening in your household. What are things that we need to know here in our district so that we continue to be positive when it comes with it. We also teach them about different tech options. AI is part of it as well, how to monitor for our children. So that's all part of the Parent University and Educational Summit.
Yeah, I love that. That's a lot of great information. Now, Superintendent, what are your thoughts around some districts that are going cell phone free in the classroom to lower distractions and improve learning and student development?
Everyone's going to have their own reasons for doing that, but we also have to keep in mind eventually we're trying to prepare them to be lifelong learners and global citizens. And cell phones are not going away. So the better thing for me, I believe, is that you need to just teach them how to be a little bit more etiquette with their cell phones, when to pull it out. Because we do use cell phones within the classroom and in our curriculum when we ask them to pull it out to take something down and use something or use a QR code. So there are reasons for using the cell phone, but we have to provide the lessons behind it and also tell them why we were saying you shouldn't be pulling out your cell phone for every reason. There's also for safety reasons why they may need a cell phone. So I go kind of in the middle with it, that cell phones don't necessarily have to be the evil. They could also be an asset in your classroom. But every district is going to be very different. There could be a lot of different reasons for it. And maybe it's because they're still developing their climate and culture for it that at this moment they're going to want to put some strict guidelines on we're stopping cell phones for now.
Yeah, so true and well said. I like how you said, is it an evil or an asset? It's a really a gray area these days. I think everything with too much screen time can turn into that negative thing as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, Superintendent, this has been terrific. I've got one more question for you, and it is about what everybody wants to talk about. It's about AI. But before we get to that, I want to give a big shout out to my incredible team at smartsocial.com. You are providing content for our dozens and dozens of school districts that protect millions of kids all over the country in 29 different states in 12 different languages, both in English and Espanol, in Mandarin, and you are providing for them digital safety parent nights that are engaging, all of these reels and social media that you're giving to the school districts so they can post it. And then also teen-led videos and incredible parent content. So proud of the incredible team. Thank you to the dozens and dozens of partners in almost 3 dozen states that we're working with for helping us to keep your students safe on social media so they can someday shine online. Thanks to everybody supporting us. All right, we're back. Superintendent, the last question that I have for you is the hottest question on everybody's mind. You're a pre-K to 8 district, and you're teaching a lot of this AI. I want to hear how you're doing it. The question is, how is your school district approaching AI tools like ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, and Claude?
We're actually receiving it with open arms. We're excited about it. I didn't want any of my children left behind. I want them ready to go for high school, knowing how to utilize these tools. We developed a policy in 2023. We were pretty excited. We're one of the first in Illinois to actually develop this policy. Obviously, it becomes easier because I'm a smaller district, but we partnered with MIT. We partnered with UIC for the robots so our children could start using AI with our robots and then reading to our younger children, and the robots would answer the questions. We also spoke with our larger district, Chicago Public Schools, to find out what they were doing. We dug into research, webinars, panels, articles. What is the conversation happening out there? And then we developed a roadmap for our AI literacy. And it's a 4-week curriculum. The first week is about ethics and AI, kind of looks at the algorithms, ethical matrix, investigating biases, environmental impact of AI. Our second week is AI core concepts. So like decision trees, our supervised machine learning. There's the networks, classifying versus generative AI. Third week is creativity in AI. So we are looking at AI generational art. We're looking at what are deep fakes, spreading of misinformation, generating a story, and understanding that AI just pulls from the World Wide Web. And so you're going to be getting a bias in that itself. So who is not talking right now in the World Wide Web that you may not be getting the right information from? And then our fourth week is AI career futures. So what are they dreaming about in the careers? How are they going to reinvent themselves with AI? Kind of like planting that STEAM job in advance and how they're going to be impactful for the future. And then perhaps developing their own roadmap for the future with AI.
That's a lot of stuff. There's a lot in AI. Good for you for being so forward about this. There's other district leaders that are watching this right now, and I think all of us have come around. Like, this is a tool we can't ignore. Remember when we were kids? Doctor, people would say, you're not going to have a calculator in your back pocket. You better learn that arithmetic. And yes, everybody should know backwards and forwards, math, and really gut check things. We have to do that. but the tool is with us. How many times has this been ever in the vehicle? Or how many times, doctor, be honest, have you ever left this at home from work?
No.
No. If you
No.
leave it at home, one time we went on vacation, my mom left hers at home and I couldn't believe, she said, oh, well, I just won't have a cell phone for the weekend. And I was like, no, I can't imagine not having a cell phone.
Yeah.
Doctor, this has been terrific. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
No, thank you for inviting.
And for the rest of you watching, we're so grateful for the 54 plus amazing live events we're able to do in multilingual. Also, the hundreds of reels and social media posts that we're giving to schools, licensing to them to teach them how to use Google Gemini so every kid has AI in their back pocket with parent permission and with trusted adult guided access. But all of these different social media tools so parents, you can get ahead in any language that you want. We're so grateful. We have the best premium parent newsletter and all kinds of other stuff. And if you're going to the AASA, we want to have you there, superintendents. Chat with us. Come on this podcast. We're forever grateful. But last but not least, most importantly, make sure to keep it light, bright, and polite online because our kids are watching what we do. I'm Josh Oakes, the host of the smartsocial.com podcast. We'll see all of you on the next episode. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for listening to our smartsocial.com podcast. I'm your host, Josh Oakes. This was our District Talk segment where we interview school district leaders to learn how they're keeping students safe on social media so those students can someday launch into their future by shining online. This episode was brought to you by our smartsocial.com VIP program. It's called the Very Informed Parent Program, which helps you engage your students with teen-led video lessons. Stay one step ahead with our premium parent newsletter and discover hidden features on trending apps on teens' phones and our 54 plus live parent and student-friendly events every single year. You can click on the link below to chat with one of our team members if you want a free pass to our VIP program to support your community with our smartsocial.com resources. And if you're a district leader who has a success story, we would love to feature you on a future episode. You can click the links below to reach out. Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Have a great day.